This is Tank's Vlog, October 19, 2018, wrapping up today in sports. We're brought to you by Allow Me to Be Frank, the weekly podcast you can hear on SoundCloud and iTunes. Be sure to listen. We'll be having a new episode recording on Monday night, so keep your ear out on Tuesday when it drops. It's the greatest podcast in sports you can imagine. Allow Me to Be Frank. Available on SoundCloud and iTunes. NFL Week 11, as we're getting ready for the stretch drive. Thanksgiving's only a few days away, and now it's time for teams to line up and either be accounted for or get ready to start preparing for the draft. The Atlanta Falcons look like they're going to be one of the teams going for the draft, as they once again suffered a major fourth quarter letdown. They had a lead all game long, but had to settle for field goals and only led 9-6 as the fourth quarter began. And in the fourth quarter, their defense had a major letdown. Big runs by Ezekiel Elliott helped the Cowboys go in front. But the Falcons did come back. They did tie the game. But when the chips were down, the Cowboys drove down the field, got the game-winning field goal, and the Falcons once again saw a fourth quarter go away. I tell you, the Atlanta Falcons, anytime a game is close to the fourth quarter, they blow it. They blow it. This team does not know how to win close games. Ever since that Super Bowl loss, it's like they've been in forever in shell shock in the fourth quarter. In Detroit, it was the Lions stunning the Panthers 20-19. Game went back and forth. Lions defense played well, kept Cam Newton on the wraps most of the day, but Cam Newton still managed 357 yards at 3 touchdowns. They shut down the Panthers' run offense for sure. But in the end of the game, the Panthers had a chance to tie the game, except Riverboat Ron bit off a little more than he could chew. Instead of going for the tie in overtime, he decided to go for 2, putting the Ron in moron. You know, they call it gutsy if you go for 2 in those situations, but you better make it. You better make it. Otherwise, you're going to be an idiot. And Ron Rivera looked like an idiot as the Panthers went down in flames. Andrew Luck, 7 straight games now with 3 touchdowns or more. Colts back to 5-5. Can you say comeback player of the year? As the Colts, after the Titans shut down the Cowboys, shut down the Patriots, get clobbered by the Indianapolis Colts 38-10. The Giants, whose offense has been atrocious all season long, had a major breakout game. Saquon Barkley scored 3 touchdowns as the Giants beat the Buccaneers 38-35. They were in control most of the afternoon. Buccaneers did cut the lead within 3 points, but the Giants, every time they had to score, scored. And Dick Carter, tell you, there's a coach that doesn't look like he knows what the hell he is doing. He benches Fitzpatrick for Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston comes in. Jameis Winston struggles, and he benches Winston for Fitzpatrick. Now he's benched Fitzpatrick again for Winston. Something tells me Tampa's in for a major overhaul this summer or winter after the season, as the Buccaneers at 3-7 are basically OUT. Out. Horrifying news for the Redskins today. On the 33rd anniversary of Joe Theismann, Alex Smith suffered a similar type injury, breaking his legs in several places, as the Redskins lost to the Texans 23-21. Very bad loss for the Redskins at 6-4. They have to play in 4 days with Colt McCoy as their quarterback as they try to find a backup. And they have to play on Thanksgiving in Dallas. Not a good situation. Cowboys can easily take over control of the NFC least with that one. Jaguars came in with 5 straight losses. Steelers came in with 5 straight wins. Jaguars dominated this game, but could only get a 16-0 lead. And then they let the Steelers back in the game. And Ben Roethlisberger on the final seconds scores a touchdown. Steelers win 20-16. I don't think there's ever been a coach that's done a worse coaching job this year than Doug Marrone. The Jaguars just disintegrated. This was a playoff team. This team had an all-time great defense, and it has disintegrated. Blake Bortles has been terrible, and I know he doesn't trust Blake Bortles, but then you could tell he doesn't trust Blake Bortles. And when the game is tight and they have a lead, he went into a shell, just like in the AFC Championship game. It is completely imploded in Jacksonville. Jaguars 3-7 after being 3-1. What a disaster. There's no bigger disappointment in the NFL this year than the Jacksonville Jaguars. I will be shocked if Doug Marrone is not fired. I mean, this is an all-time horrendous, horrific, horrible, atrocious, pathetic, putrid, HP-like coaching performance by Doug Marrone. Lamar Jackson made his first start and was better with his legs than his arms, rushing for 117 yards. In the end, though, the Ravens got the win as they beat the Bengals 24-21, and they're part of a big pileup of 5-5 teams battling for that 6th wild card, that 6th seed, that 2nd wild card in the AFC. The Oakland Raiders found a jewel on Sunday as they got a last-second field goal to beat the Arizona Cardinals 23-21. Arizona Cardinals are also 2-8, so it's not like they beat anyone good. There's a reason why the Chargers are the Chargers. And today, again, we saw why the Chargers are the Chargers. Blew a double-digit lead. Should have beaten the Broncos. Didn't beat the Broncos. Lost to a team that's inferior, as the Broncos also won late on a field goal, 23-22. Saints absolutely took the Philadelphia Eagles to the woodshed. The Eagles, 4-6. Their playoff hopes are now on a respirator. I mean, it's just been terrible. There's Super Bowl hangover, and there's what the Eagles are doing. The Eagles' defense is just falling apart. There's injuries all throughout the secondary. Drew Brees just had a field day. 363 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. Like I said, the Eagles' playoff hopes are on life support, and it's not looking good. So it looks like we won't be seeing dilly, Philly 2 in a row. And on Sunday night, the Chicago Bears. Bear down, Chicago Bears. They're coming back into a prominence. Bear down, Chicago Bears. Khalil Mack is the defensive player of the year. They're making the Raiders look foolish every time they win. Bear down, Chicago Bears have taken control of the North as the Vikings, Packers both struggle to find their way. And what a defensive performance today. Khalil Mack was once again a monster game. Forced fumble, sacks, getting in the face of Kirk Cousins as the Bears won 25-20 and now have a 1.5 game lead in the North. Let's move on to hockey. And the New Jersey Devils got off to a dreadful start on Sunday, allowing 2 goals in the first 30 seconds. The rest of the way, however, they didn't allow anything. Unfortunately, They only got one goal the rest of the way. Pavel Zacha scored later in the first period, as both teams put up zeros the rest of the way. And the Devils lost again 2-1 to the Carolina Hurricanes, and now sit 8-9-2 and not in good shape. Like I said, you can miss the play. Can't make the playoffs in November, but you could certainly bury yourself in November. And the Devils are doing a pretty good job at burying themselves right now. It was the Stars 6-2 winners over the Islanders. The Blackhawks beat the Wild 3-1. The Golden Knights doubled up the Oilers 6-3. And it was the Avalanche 4-3 over the Ducks in overtime. In the NBA, it was the Grizzlies 187 over the Timberwolves. The Magic beat the Knicks 131-117. That's a good win for the. That's a good loss for the Knicks, as they. Every loss this year for the Knicks is good. The Knicks have to consider this bizarre season. Knicks don't want to win; they want Zion Williamson, and that's got to be their goal. That's got to be their goal. More losses, more lottery balls. LeBron went back to one of his old haunting grounds, scored 51 points on Sunday night as the Lakers beat the Heat 113-97. It was the Trailblazers 119-109 over the Wizards, and the Spurs are beating the suddenly reeling Golden State Warriors 104-92. Today's three stars are Saquon Barkley, the Giant, who had 3 touchdowns, Drew Brees, who blew apart the Eagles, and LeBron James, who had 51 points in their win over the Heat. Today's birthday shout-out goes to Ryan Howard, who turns 39. This was a big superstar for the Phillies, MVP, and in one of the worst ways to lose a playoff series. Game 5 of the NLDS in 2011, in grounding out the ending the series, he ruptured his Achilles and was never the same. And the Phillies went down with him. So, happy birthday to Ryan Howard, who turns 39. And we take a look back 40 years ago Sunday to the Miracle in the Meadowlands. This play changed football forever. The Giants had a 17-12 lead in the waning seconds at the Meadowlands. And instead of kneeling on the ball, which really wasn't the practice then, they couldn't kneel. At that time, defensive players could roll over the quarterback. So most times the quarterback just went on the ground and went into fetal position and was touched. The kneel down didn't really become in vogue until years later. At the time, so the Giants tried to hand the ball off to Larry Zonka. Zonka wasn't ready. Pisarchuk bobbled the ball and it was scooped up by Herm Edwards. This was rock bottom for the Giants. Fans started burning their tickets, flying over the stadium with signs on an airplane. And it led to mass changes. John McVay got fired. Of course, John McVay is the grandfather of Rams coach Sean McVay. And it led to George Young getting hired, and it basically was the beginning of the Giants' turnaround. This was rock bottom. And because of this play, we now see the victory formation. This gave birth to the victory formation. So check out the full story at Barstool Sports. Click on some of those videos. And, of course, Sports Encyclopedia, where sports history lives. And listen to Allow Me to Be Frank. Good day.